Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. If you're new to my channel, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe because you'll love my channel if you're new here. I promise you, all right? And those of you that aren't new, you're going to love it too. Okay, we got a lot to cover today. And, of course, when I'm live streaming, I'm always taking calls. So if you're watching live, you can call me toll-free no matter where you are. The number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631 if you're watching live. 888-465-2631. Okay, so my thumbnail and title of this video is Russell Brand is MAGA. And I don't do clickbait, guys. That is not a clickbait title, and it is not a clickbait thumbnail. You know, Russell Brand is MAGA in that he supports many of the things that we MAGA people support, all right, and that Trump supports. He recently interviewed Tucker Carlson. Russell interviewed Tucker, right? Not Tucker interviewing him. And it was fascinating. Did you guys watch? I watched it, and I did a live stream on it. And if you look at Russell Brand, okay, what's his position on the shutdowns and lockdowns and all that business, right? Same as me. What's his position on the corporate media establishment, which same as Trump, same as yours, same as anyone who's MAGA. So Russell Brand, while he's not MAGA in the sense that he's going to vote for Trump because he can't, he's an Englishman, not an American one, citizen. Although if he but that's the way it is. But he's MAGA in that we have a lot of things in common in the big picture, okay, with Russell Brand. And one thing about Donald Trump and the great MAGA movement, Donald Trump has united the English-speaking world. You know, so many people watch my channel and listen to my podcast that are in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, so the MAGA movement is a global movement of people that are not just Americans, okay? And if you look at what's going on, Russell Brand, while he's a superstar celebrity in the UK, he's pretty well known in conservative circles here in America too, okay? And if you look at what's been going on in the last few days, look at what's happened, right? And well, really in the last few weeks. I'll go in reverse on some of these, and they may not be in a particular order, but here we have all of these charges on Russell Brand, right? Look at what I was talking about this yesterday on my podcast, and the podcast is the video before this one on my YouTube channel here. Lauren Boebert in a theater getting felt up and with this liberal jerk, right, guy that she was out with, right? She got run out of a theater, national story, humiliation. Kristi Noem, the great governor of South Dakota that a little over a week ago had a great rally for President Trump. And they're talking about her being vice president with President Trump in his second term, possibly. Look, they got a story about her having a long-term affair with Corey Lewandowski. Can you believe? Who's been on this show, Corey Lewandowski, and of course is close with President Trump. We've got the Trump 19 that were indicted in Fulton County. Of course, Donald Trump is one of the 19, but people like the great Mayor Giuliani and others and indicted in there. Tucker Carlson was let go from Fox News because he was exposing January 6th with that J6 coverage from all those tapes that he got from Kevin McCarthy. And there's others in between, but if you look right now, did I mention Ken Paxton? I might have forgotten that who was totally acquitted yesterday. Ken Paxton in Texas. Ken Paxton supported President Trump when very few were, okay? So if you look at what's going on here, these top-level people that either directly support Trump or support much of his agenda, as we are about to enter, the main 2024 election season. We're like 4 months away from the Iowa caucus, and there's a big move to arrest, put in jail, bring down, smear people that are spreading the MAGA message, whether it's Russell Brand, Lauren Boebert, or others, okay? You understand what I'm saying? So when I say Russell Brand is MAGA, that's what I'm talking about. Now, with that being said, I'm not defending him against these allegations because we don't know enough about him yet. I mean, we know the allegations, and some of them are pretty bizarre, and I'm not going to get in a position of defending Russell Brand yet, even though he has taken a strong position that none of it's true. And, in America, even though he's not American, but in America, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law by a jury of your peers. So he's innocent of everything he's been accused of because that's the American way. However, I don't want to get in the business of defending him yet. I'm just talking about why he was targeted. So much of what Russell Brand does is attacking this deep state controlled corporate media culture. And, and look at this. I pulled this up. This has been here since the story broke yesterday on the Drudge Report, which, I don't know, I may be the only view on the Drudge Report all day, right? The Drudge Report used to be it. That used to be where, everybody went for their news. And I don't know, the Drudge Report went woke before woke happened. But I wanted to show you what's going on here. So Russell Brand, this has been up since the story broke yesterday afternoon here on the East Coast of the United States. And top story for almost a day is Russell Brand. Everything's in red. I'm surprised they don't have the siren there. And then look at this. Let's find Ken Paxton's acquittal here. Hold on. Let me put my reading glasses on. Let's find Ken Paxton's acquittal. I don't even see it now. I'm looking for it. Look at this. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Look at this. You can't even see it because I'm over it. But let me pull it up. This is Ken Paxton's acquittal. Hold on, I missed it again. It's the third thing down. Okay, so you've got over here. You've got Russell Brand accused of rape, assault, blah blah blah. Then you go to the left. The first story is Trump. Little tiny things I got to put my reading glasses on for. Trump talking about cognitive testing, some minor thing on Biden, and then after winning impeachment fight, Texas AG Paxton still faces felony fraud case and FBI investigation. Very little. So the acquittal of Ken Paxton, I knew it was there, but I still had to get my reading glasses on, and I could still barely find it. Right? You see how the acquittal of Paxton is buried, but the accusation against Russell Brand is bright and center for over half a day now. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to take down the alt media that report what you and I believe to be the truth, that the corporate media work for the uniparty and the deep state and are trying to control our lives. But like I said, I believe there's too many people defending Russell Brand against these accusations, and the fact is we just don't know, okay, at this point. We just don't know. Back in those days, Russell Brand was so high and drinking and in that Hollywood lifestyle. His memories of those days are probably clouded. I don't know, but defending those actions just because we agree with him is not really something that I think we should be doing. But I'm just talking about why the guy's being targeted, all right? So when you're MAGA, you assume that everything you say is being listened to, every move you make is being watched, everything you do is being recorded. And I'm not saying that that's true. I mean, I'm not that self-centered, and I know you guys aren't either. But you have to carry yourself around as if that's happened. I've spent my entire life working behind a microphone. And I always tell people that I always conduct myself as if the microphone is on, and I always assume everyone in the world is listening because anybody can hear what you say at any given time. And that's how we all have to carry ourselves. So Lauren Boebert, who's still married, but she's in the middle of a divorce, if she wants to go and hook up with some Democrat guy in her private life, keep it private. Don't go to Don't go to a stage show and act like some high school kid and get and have some guy feeling you up while you're feeling him up. When you're a sitting member of the United States Congress, have some sense. Okay, is what I'm saying, and you got to carry yourself that way. So that's my thoughts on it. And this Russell Brand, I know they keep telling us that it was going on for 3 years, the investigation, but I don't know if I buy all that, but I know that it's coming out now because he's so powerful and he's so influential. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Mike in Louisiana. How you doing? Long time, no talk.
You're talking about Russell Brand, and this is a thing. You're looking at. I'm not defending him of whatever he's done, whatever they say he's done, but think about this. He's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
He's also on Rumble, but he's on YouTube, and YouTube is very liberal. And if he's MAGA,
well, it's not just that.
MAGA.
He in the UK. He is a superstar celebrity. All right, he's known here in America in conservative circles. He's not that famous in America. He's super famous in the UK. But he just had an incredible interview with Tucker Carlson that I don't know how many millions of people have seen on different platforms and everything. And they're with Tucker Carlson being let go by Fox, there's been an explosion in the new age digital media, and the uniparty can't control that messaging. Tucker, Russell Brand, and people like that, they can't control them. So that's why things like this happen. Hey, listen, Mike, thanks for the call. And by the way, if you're listening live, if you're watching live, you too can call. The number's toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. Now listen to this story. Louisiana man wins a lawsuit against a town that targeted his anti-Biden flags. I tell you, the liberals are, when President Trump says they're communist, there's no doubt that they're communist, okay? Liberals want to control our lives, all right? And they don't want you to have any freedoms or anything. They want to tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Look at this. A man in Louisiana has just won a lawsuit against the town of Grand Isle. Russ Brunette flies anti-Biden flags on the back of his truck. He's been ticketed multiple times. The town even went so far as to pass an ordinance in an effort to stop him. So he's in a town of Democrats. He won his lawsuit on free speech grounds. We don't exactly know what the flags say, but I'm assuming Brandon and F words and things like this. And it's in Louisiana, a resort town on the Louisiana coast. And it goes into all of this. I see people around in my town here in Florida flying anti-Biden flags around and Trump flags and MAGA flags around all the time. What I don't see, and I bet you guys haven't seen this either, do you see anyone flying Biden flags, Biden-Harris flags? I don't think so. I used to see people fly Trump DeSantis flags, but since he started screwing us over, those are gone. But I don't see anyone, or with any gay flags or trans flags either. But I do see a lot of Trump 2024 flags, and I see a lot of anti-Biden flags. But I never see the opposite. And I live in a Democrat area, believe it or not. In Florida, there sadly are Democrat areas. But what I was talking about, though, with all of that, think about all the people as we move into the election that have either been arrested, being accused of crimes like Russell Brand, fired from their jobs. You got to understand with Tucker's a big deal now. But when Fox let him go, they didn't fire him. He's still on their payroll. They just took him off the air, and they thought they were going to be able to silence him and keep him away from his audience until after the election. And there's this loophole in his contract that allow him to do what he's doing so long as he doesn't get paid for it. So, in effect, Fox News is paying him to do his Tucker on Twitter Tucker on X show and expose all these things. But Fox News didn't plan on that happening. Fox News thought they were going to keep him silent. He'd have to just hang out at his mansion or something and not do anything. Okay, and he's become this powerhouse. In fact, I think, didn't I read yesterday that Ken Paxton, after the acquittal, said he was heading to Tucker's house to do an interview? Did I read that yet? Did any of you hear that? I think I heard that yesterday. And Tucker has become like the big place where news gets broken. And Tucker has given so much credibility and driven an audience into anyone that does digital media like I do, that's where the news is now. There were so many people that were loyal TV and cable news people that have fled to the new media, like me and others, Russell Brand and Megyn Kelly and others, because of Tucker's exodus from Fox News. They did us an incredible favor, and with their Trump derangement syndrome, going after all of these people just makes them stronger, makes them more popular, and makes them more influential than they ever were before. So they're really screwing up. Now, this is really insane. So, there's so much talk. There's so much talk about who the Democrats are going to nominate, because we're starting to. I think most people are starting to assume it's not going to be Joe Biden, and it certainly is not going to be Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris, and a few names get mentioned, but one of them is Newsom. And I always think that that's kind of crazy, because California really sucks right now. I mean, I was watching a guy on YouTube this morning before my stream here, and he was in Berkeley. All the stores were closed. I saw a guy on YouTube the other day who was walking around Beverly Hills, and half the stores not only were closed, have left. Because of the crime is so bad in Southern California and San Francisco. We see all these things on TV. And the whole idea that Governor Newsom, that the Democrats would think he was a viable option over Willie Brown's girlfriend or Biden seemed insane. And then there's a story today that's so stupid. Only a Democrat who was running for president would push this kind of stupidity. So look at this. California, which means Newsom, California sues oil giants and says they've deceived the public on climate change, and they want money for the wildfires, storm damage, heat waves, and droughts. Why don't they just sue God, right? California is suing big oil for deceiving the public on how their fossil fuels contributed to climate change. Now, one of the big lies is this idea of fossil fuels. Oil is not a fossil fuel. When I was a kid growing up, I used to think two things, all right? And I'm sure this occurred to you guys too. All the oil we have comes from dead plants and dinosaurs. How many dinosaurs were there that there's so much oil, right? And then I started wondering, well, wait a minute. They're drilling hundreds and thousands of feet beneath the Earth's surface. Why were the dinosaurs hundreds and thousands of feet below the surface? And I remember when I was in elementary school or middle school or something, I can't remember which one, I asked a teacher that I had, we were talking about this, why is the oils from the dinosaurs and all the plant life back then, why is it so deep beneath the surface? And the teacher said, well, every 100 years, the surface of the Earth grows an inch. It grows an inch is what he told me. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's another inch of dirt every 100 years. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if they still promote that, or if my teacher was just trying to act like he knew something and said, oh, that's been so many millions of years. If you multiply that by an inch, that's exactly where creatures used to walk, was that deep beneath the surface. Sounds like total bullshit, but that's what my teacher told me at the time. I'm like, okay, whatever, But oil, Jerome Corsi, I promote this book all the time. It's out of print. You can find it on Amazon. There's a book by the great Jerome Corsi, Black Gold Stranglehold, Jerome Corsi. A lot of you guys know Jerome Corsi. The Obama administration tried to kill Jerome Corsi in Africa. He went to Africa to interview Obama's brother by another mother, and the Somali army arrested him and threw him in a jail cell with a bunch of, or no, it was the Kenyan army, and they threw him in a jail cell with some Somalian drug dealers. They tried to kill Jerome Corsi. But anyway, in his book, Black Gold Stranglehold, Jerome Corsi gets into the science that the earth actually makes oil, that oil is not a finite resource, that while a well may dry up, new ones are popping up all the time, because the earth, part of what goes on deep beneath the surface is the earth actually makes oil. It's a byproduct of all the activity deep beneath the earth's surface. So oil is not a resource we'll run out of, we'll have it forever. So this idea that it's a fossil fuel is just complete BS. Anyway, California, that's Gavin Newsom, is suing Big Oil for deceiving the public on how their fossil fuels have contributed to climate change. On Friday, California filed a civil lawsuit in San Francisco against BP, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Shell, ConocoPhillips, and their trade group, the American Petroleum Institute. Gavin Newsom blasted the oil companies, blamed them for wildfires, storms, deadly heat waves, and droughts. Now, in almost every instance, reported as prominently as Ken Paxton's acquittal on the Drudge Report, I got to put my reading glasses on to see it. Most of these fires are started either through arson or some stupid person with their campfire or something that didn't put it out properly. Of the ones that are, and that's the majority, of the ones that are left, a huge chunk of them start naturally through lightning strikes or just combustion through sunlight and heat. You know, here in Florida, we have the Florida Everglades, big swamp, covers up most of Florida. There are, nobody lives in the Everglades except alligators and stuff. But there are fires in the Everglades all the time, and the most common cause of fires in the Everglades are lightning strikes. And it happens in the drier months because, just like everywhere else when there's such things, because all the plant life is dry and it'll burn faster and easier. So this idea that global warming is causing all these things in California is complete BS. And in Maui, wasn't it the electric company out there that's being blamed for that fire? That seems to be missing from the stories. Let's see here. For more than 50 years, Big Oil. Oh, let's take a call here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Royal Palm Beach.
Hey, what's up, Royal Palm Beach?
I was going to say, this thing about, all these people and the climate and everything. I'm 70-ish. And when I went to school 50 years ago, they told us about, what happens to chemistry in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the simple lesson, without boring anybody, would be things like carbon dioxide or molecules. It's much heavier than oxygen, and it falls like dust. And they used to teach this in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
It doesn't accumulate in the atmosphere, and I'm just, wondering why they don't teach that anymore, because there's been no new mechanism.
Well, it doesn't fit the
found
narrative.
out.
Like when I was in school, they used to talk about the hole in the ozone layer and the radiation from the outer that was caused by aerosol cans, and the radiation from space was going to come through the hole as it grew bigger and radiate the planet and kill us all. And then they found out that the ozone layer always has holes in it, and that lightning makes ozone and repairs the holes. And this is how it's been since God created the earth. But they just, the science doesn't fit the narrative. They call us science deniers, but they're the ones denying and covering up science all the time.
Exactly right. And one thing about the poles is there's no lightning. Rarely in the poles, which is why there's no O3.
Correct.
And O3 is three times heavier than oxygen, and it wants to be under oxygen. It gets absorbed into the 71% water surface we have on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple.
Exactly. And the reason so many scientists have these studies proving all this liberal crap is right is because to get the grants, you gotta tell them the conclusion of your work beforehand, which is to support the liberal agenda, and then they get published. all the journals, the scientific journals, and then the media are liberal. They'll only report things that fit their liberal narrative. That's why so many scientists say all this liberal crap is true that probably is not. Certainly global warming is not true.
And one other quick thing is they knew that it's self-evident in the 1800s when they were discovering the properties of chemistry, and they verified it with data in the mid-60s. It was part of the Gaia is a living organism thing.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's not. There's not a question about it. It's just a pure lie.
Yeah. Well, listen, the whole thing, I'm not saying that China started the climate change thing, but they certainly have hijacked it. China wants us all on electric vehicles because they have no oil. And the United States, we have more oil, more natural gas, more coal. And now we have the largest, just discovered in Nevada, we have the largest lithium deposits in the world. So every form of energy that's major that is known to the world, oil, natural gas, coal, and lithium for the electric batteries, we have more of it than any other place on earth in the United States, right? So what do we need all these other people for? China owns our politicians, and China's probably funding the whole global warming movement.
As well as every OPEC company, as well as every OPEC and every other oil producer, because every time we cut production, they make a lot more money.
That's right. That goes for the oil. I talk about this a lot on my program here. The oil companies are not with the Republicans, they're with the Democrats, because when Democrats are in office, oil prices go up, gas prices go up, they make more money per barrel of oil. So it makes no sense for the oil companies to support Republicans because, when you're selling a product, you want to sell your product for as much as possible. Same goes for the gun manufacturers. Gun prices go up and gun sales always go up with Democrats in office. And the gun makers, they prefer Democrats over Republicans too. In fact, the anti-gun groups are probably funded by the gun manufacturers. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but if you think about it, it will.
Yeah, but Brian, a quick question. Do you think they'll ever get smart enough or brave enough to take money out of politics?
No. It's always been there and it always will be.
I think you're right, and I think they got to find some way of doing something, to kind of watch. I don't know how to get around that.
There's no way to get around it.
Yeah, and they said it's First Amendment right.
Long time ago, I don't recall exactly when this changed, but before any of us were born. The members of Congress, the House and the Senate, the people of the state didn't vote on them. You voted for your state legislators, and the state legislators, they picked who your representatives were in the House and the Senate. And they changed that, where we have mass vote. And the reason they did that is so that the control wasn't in a bunch of different states, but was in one place. So the lobbyists had one place, Washington, D.C., where they could do all their lobby. It was difficult for the donors and the lobbyists to have to be, we didn't have 50 states then, but it was difficult for them to be located in every state to influence Congress. Now they just have to be in one place, D.C. It's a big racket. No, you'll never get money out of politics. Never.
Yeah, it's a shame. And that's the most terrible thing I think about this fake news press we have. I mean, that's the only guard we have against it kind of thing.
That's right. Well, hey, look, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for calling, man.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello, you're on the air. What's your name? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Dave in Virginia.
Hey, Dave.
How are you, Brian, today?
All right. What's on your mind?
They were talking about how the Bushes were really upset about Paxton being
That's
let
right.
off.
Well, the Bushes run Texas, and they probably want Jeb's son to be the attorney general, trying to get him out of the way.
Yep, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And as far as
think about it. The Bushes are behind Paxton, and they're behind Trump's problems and everything else. The Bush family are terrible people. I'm ashamed I used to support them. They're the worst.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, we didn't know.
And that climate change, they're talking about that the poles, the North and South Pole, have been changing their directions for every so many thousands of years, and
Yeah.
we've always had climate change, So
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to bring it up, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Now, I want to tell you guys, those of you out there that are retired or you're going to be retiring, we're all going to be retired at some point, right? Whoever you are, or maybe you're already retired. Well, whether you're retired or you plan on retiring at some point in the future, I want to tell you about Joe Thomas. And Joe Thomas, he's president of the Retirement Network Advisors, which is South Florida's premier retirement experts, and they have been for over 20 years. And Joe Thomas does a program on my radio station, and he's offering his book for free, a real book, not a digital download, a real book to all of my listeners. And I pinned the link at the top of the chat if you're watching live. It's jupiterjoe.com, okay? And go to jupiterjoe.com, click that link, and get your free book. And in this book, Joe Thomas will show you why investing in the stock market might not be for everyone. He'll teach you all the mistakes that people make when they retire or are planning their retirement. He'll tell you all about diversification and all kinds of things. So go to jupiterjoe.com or click the link pinned at the top of the chat and get your free book, right? And when you get your free book, you're also supporting all of my content. Okay, he's a brand new sponsor of our program. So go to jupiterjoe.com and order your free book, guys, all right? It's a real book, just like this one, right? Not a digital download, all right? And by the way, thanks all of you for supporting my content. Now, I love this, what Greg Abbott has started by sending illegals from Texas all over the country. And these sanctuary cities like New York are having meltdowns when they actually got to live it. It's easy to be a sanctuary city when they're all, way far away from you. And this is in Los Angeles. Look at this. The mayor of Los Angeles, which is a sanctuary city, says she's fearful of planes full of illegals arriving. I was surprised at this story because I figured there were so many in Los Angeles already because it's in California, but it's pretty far from the border. During a recent interview, the LA mayor claimed that border state leaders are only sending illegal immigrants to make Democrat governors and mayors look bad. Well, I think what they're trying to do is show that it's easy to support having the open border if it doesn't affect your community. She says that statement's ridiculous enough on its own, but she went on to say that she's afraid of planes full of illegal immigrants arriving. Really? She's afraid? When Donald Trump said they're not sending their best, they're sending rapists, they're sending murderers, etc., they called him a racist. So is the LA mayor saying that she's afraid that the people they're sending are criminal? What is she saying here? And here's the audio of it.
What they're trying to do is destabilize cities because it's Chicago, it's Washington, D.C., it's New York. It's the narrative that these are Democratic-run cities and that we don't know how to govern and that everything is chaotic here. We live in a city that welcomes immigrants. And so I think we have been able to handle it. But I am fearful that any day planes could start coming.
Okay. So, it's not to necessarily embarrass Democrat mayors and governors. It's to show that no one wants this in this country. And what they're doing with their virtue signaling is they're supporting something, okay? They're supporting something that they're not experiencing. It's easy to support something when it doesn't affect you, okay? And when you have to actually deal with it, it's a whole nother ball game, isn't it? And that's why it's done. I mean, there's no other reason why it's done. It's not done to embarrass them. And these areas are being targeted like Los Angeles, New York City, and Chicago because most of the entire country is red when you look at the map, almost the entire country. And you have these areas of blue that are Chicago. I mean, if it wasn't for Cook County, Illinois would go Republican all the time. Chicago has a lot of influence. Same with New York. If you took New York City out of the mix, New York State would go Republican much more often. So it's going to these few isolated, largely populated urban areas, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, and they got to feel what it's really like. And they don't like it. And what Abbott has done by sending people around like this is to really change the narrative in this country about the border. I mean, think about how much easier it's going to be for President Trump in the beginning of his second term to finish that small area of the wall that he couldn't finish, right? Because so many Democrat areas are supporting him. And I was talking on my podcast yesterday with my wife, Kathy, which, by the way, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can listen to the Brian Craig Show podcast wherever you are. I also upload it here on my YouTube channel. But my wife, Kathy, and I, we were talking. In fact, this was my wife's suggestion, is that President Trump should have a rally in New York and tell the New Yorkers, vote for me in 2024, and I will deport all of these illegals that are in your city back to where they came from. And I will save New York. This is my hometown. I care and love New York, and I don't like what I'm seeing, and we're going to deport all of them. And while it may be hard for him to get a venue or a permit to have a rally in New York, he could find a place near enough by to have one. And it's quite possible when you see what's going on in New York City in particular with their legitimate outrage at the illegals that are there and the way they're behaving, that he could win New York State over this. I really do think he could win New York State. I really do. You know, there's been a big demographic change because so many people have left the city, and now so many people that are left behind are so pissed off at the illegals. And, you know, in New York City, Adams and the city leaders are talking about adding a new tax, an illegal immigrant tax. Why the hell should they be paying more? They pay enough tax anyway in New York. You know, you've got, and if you live in New York City, think about this, right? You've got federal income tax, state income tax, and they even have New York City income tax. So they're paying 3 income taxes in New York City, and God knows what the sales tax is and what other kind of fees they have in New York City, right? And they want another tax so that these freeloaders getting $2,000 a month can sit on their ass and sleep all day and get up in the middle of the night and party and everything else. That's insane, you know. So Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris, said something really stupid. Let me play this for you, and we'll talk about this.
Supposed so-called extreme leaders are suggesting it's a bad thing to care about and pay attention to inequities, to say DEI is a bad thing, when in fact, if we want fair outcomes, we must understand what are disparities and then accommodate and adjust for those disparities if we want equal outcomes. So environmental justice raises those points, right? Equitable outcomes. Is everyone coming out the same way? Well, if they don't, look, if you don't start on the same base, everybody can have an equal amount. You're still not going to end up on the same base.
That's right. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so what Willie Brown's girlfriend here is talking about is guaranteed equality when it comes to outcomes. Well, first of all, that's communism 101. Communism, the theory of communism is you take all the wealth in the nation, and it never worked out this way, but the theory of communism is what she just said. I know, doesn't she sound like Katharine Hepburn a little bit there? Like she, you know, she's whatever Robert Kennedy Jr. has, she's got like, sounds like she's got the early stages of it. But communism is guaranteeing and having equal outcomes, in theory. Again, it's never applied in any communist countries, but the theory was you divide up all the property, all the wealth equally, and then divide it equally among everybody. So if you took all the wealth of the country, all the property, and then you divided that by the number of people, say it equaled $50,000, you'd give everybody $50,000. And then everything would be equal. Well, it wouldn't work out that way because some would invest and make money and make more. Some would go blow it on strippers, you know, who knows, what would happen. But how do you guarantee racial outcomes, right? In the United States, we have equal opportunity, but how do you guarantee outcomes, right? Like, on occasion, I'll buy a Powerball ticket. Any of you ever buy Powerball tickets? You know, I just saw a story the other day. Some guy won the Powerball. I didn't win. Why do I not have a guaranteed equal outcome to the guy that won the Powerball? Shouldn't we all get $1 trillion? Shouldn't we all do that? How do you guarantee equal outcomes? She is just one of the. She makes Dan Quayle look like Albert Einstein. Okay, remember all the stupidity that would come out of Dan Quayle? You know, there was a lot of weird things about him. He always seemed kind of stupid. Plus, he was a Republican. The media were after him. But she is probably the dumbest person to ever be vice president of the United States, at least since we've had like video and television and things where you can actually hear the person speak. There's never been someone quite as dumb as vice president. But just as close and weird is Fetterman. Okay, now I was very surprised to see this story. Senator Fetterman here is driving a Jeep. He's got the roof off. He's got the windows off and everything else down the road so he can go to a picket line in Detroit, which I thought he was brain damaged and was in the hospital for quite some time because he's brain damaged. But Fetterman was driving a car, and it looks like he's speeding. They even ask here in the Gateway Pundit, is he allowed to drive? Let me ask you, would you get in a car driven by John Fetterman? Would you rather be in a car being driven by someone drunk or John Fetterman? I would. So this is what they write. Brain-damaged Senator John Fetterman raced down the highway on Saturday on his way to Detroit to join the auto workers strike. Yeah, so, and then he's got a video here. Watch this. This is nuts. There's Fetterman. See him? Yeah, there's Fetterman. It's a quick video, so I might have to play it more than once. He's got the doors off on the Jeep. He's got the roof off on the Jeep. Who's holding the camera? Do you see anyone in the mirror? I don't. So who is this? There's someone in the car with him because he's got one hand on the wheel, one hand giving the thumbs up. And the camera turns. So there's someone who's obviously suicidal who's in the car with Fetterman. I don't see them in the side view mirror there, who turned the camera around. That is frightening. There he is. Oh my goodness. There's no way in hell I would get in a car with John Fetterman behind the wheel, especially an open Jeep with the doors off and the top. I had a Jeep Wrangler for many years, and it was a lot of fun driving around with the top down and the doors off. I'd leave the doors in the garage and go, but it was always kind of scary too because you're completely open, and you're going you take a quick turn in a Jeep like that, it's going to roll over. It's very dangerous to drive in a Jeep with John Fetterman. You have to be out of your freaking mind. And I saw him, and I'm sure you guys did see it too, that little interview he did after they were talking about impeaching Biden, and he was acting all weird and then walked away like Frankenstein or something. You know, it's very, no, that's crazy as it is. That's the brain-damaged John Fetterman. You know, Generation Z and millennials have come up with all these new words and phrases, many of which I don't understand. And I don't think they do either, but they think they're real smart. And one of them is microaggressions. And what racism has become to leftists and microaggressions and all these words they use, what those are just excuses for them to be mean and nasty to the people they hate the most, which are white people. Liberals that are liberal minorities who hate white people hide behind all these things so that they can justify their rage against the man. And this one here, when I first saw this story, I thought this can't be true until I actually saw the video, which I'm going to show you now. Black woman is outraged and calls out microaggression after a security guard compliments her hair. Okay, this is her. And let me play you the video. Wait, hold me. I thought I had the video. Let me find it here. Hold on. Those are the comments on the article. I know the video is on this article. Maybe they took the video down since I found that they did take it down. Hold on, let me see if I can find it again. It was here, and they took it down off of this article. Let me see if I can find it. Her name's Mama Fee. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and then if I can find it real quick, I'll pull it up and I'll show it to you. But he just compliments her hair, and she has a freak out and calls it a microaggression. Let me see if I can find this video. They took it off of that article, which is, okay, here it is. Let me see. Okay, I found it. Here it is. Let me pull it up here. Okay, so she's walking around filming herself, okay? So she's obviously, I don't know, up to something. I don't know why she's walking around filming herself. You'll hear the security guard compliment her hair.
In the front. Yeah.
Hey, love, how are you?
How are you? She came in with pretty curls. Now she coming
Can
out
you
with-
please not talk about when
It's a female guard. A female white security guard complimented her hair.
Came in with pretty curls. Now she coming
Can
out
you
with-
please not talk about when I switch up my hair?
I think it's beautiful.
I know, but like as a black person, to me it feels like a microaggression. I deal with it all the time at work.
Now, can someone tell me what the F a microaggression is? Complimenting her
And you
hair
can make-
at work?
That face.
The same thing.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm telling you how it makes me feel. Everyone's different, but
Well, as long as you feel good, now you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Does she just hate white people and is looking for some excuse to bark at white people and tear white people down, and she's using this microaggression? It used to be, when I was growing up, microaggression, some new word for racism, discrimination. What racism, discrimination is black people go to a bus station and Democrats come in and hit them in the head with baseball bats because black people aren't allowed in the bus station. Or you sit down on the front of the bus and don't give your seat away to a white person, so they call the cops on you, they arrest you. That used to be racism. Now it's making this diva feel uncomfortable. That's the new racism. If she feels uncomfortable, it's racism.
In the front. Yeah.
hey, love, how are you?
How are you? She came in with pretty curls. Now she coming
Can
out
you
with-
please not talk about when I switch up my hair?
I think it's beautiful.
I know, but like as a black person, to me it feels like a microaggression. I deal with it all the time at work, and you can make that face.
The same thing.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm telling you how it makes me feel. Everyone's different, but personally, if you like theirs, pretty hair. You don't have to like clarify that it was different each and every time, because it makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, wow.
I know this. I'm not looking for any excuses. It's just it makes me uncomfortable. Cool.
Yeah, well, she makes me uncomfortable, so could you just please stop walking around? I mean, you're making people uncomfortable here. I don't know exactly what it is with this generation that they think that they have some constitutional guarantee to not feel uncomfortable. I don't quite understand that one at all. Maybe you guys do and can let me know. Now, I want to tell you guys, I got a big announcement from Mike Lindell at MyPillow.com with my promo code Kane. This is huge. The MyPillow Mattress Topper 2.0, my wife and I sleep on this. This is a major upgrade on the MyPillow Mattress Topper that started it all. The MyPillow Mattress Topper 2.0 has cooling technology in it, and it perfectly regulates your entire body temperature. So no matter what the temperature is in your room, your body is the perfect temperature. And the MyPillow Mattress Topper 2.0 is being offered at the lowest price ever with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It is 50% off. So I have two of them. You're going to get yours for less than I got mine for. All right? Yeah. Actually, three of them, because we have two here at home, and then we got one for my daughter at her house. It is 50% off, but you've got to use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. It will change the way you sleep. You'll love it. My wife and I, we've had a MyPillow mattress topper for over 2 years now, and we love it. It's like sleeping on a cloud. And we got a second one for our guest bed, and our daughter came to visit, and her first night, we ordered it when she was on her way here. And we didn't have it the first night she was here. And then the second night we had it, and she slept on it the second night. And I asked her, I said, how did it feel? How was it different? She said, the first night, it felt like I was sleeping on a slab of concrete. And the second night, when I got the My Pillow mattress topper 2.0 and was sleeping on that, she said it was like sleeping on a cloud. And it's 50% off. And it's a great Christmas gift for yourself or anyone on your gift-giving list. It's September right now. Start doing your shopping. I don't know how long this 50% off special is going to last, but it's a great Christmas gift. And the My Pillow mattress topper comes in a perfect box for wrapping and putting under the tree or mailing to someone. And all you do, you pull it out of the box and roll it right out on the bed, and it's good to go. So it's 50% off with my promo code Kane at checkout. And remember, when you do that, you are supporting all of my content as well. Now, remember Peter Strzok? Look at this. Peter Strzok, he was on with Nicole Wallace, who used to work for John McCain, and, which tells you everything you need to know. Now, remember, the fake Russian dossier, Christopher Steele did not give it to the FBI. He gave it to John McCain, and then John McCain gave it to Comey. Nicole Wallace here on MSNBC worked for John McCain when he was running for president. She was probably the source of all the Sarah Palin slanders and leaks during that campaign. So she's here with Peter Strzok. Remember him?
If we are too timid in the way we talk about this, I mean, these are threats to terrorize people who are public servants doing their jobs for political purpose.
And what she's talking about, by the way, is President Trump speaking about the unjust charges against him around the country, the break-in at Mar-a-Lago, et cetera.
Are we see something? Are we saying something? And are we saying the right thing?
Well, in my opinion, we're not doing enough. I mean, look, when push comes to shove, absolutely the FBI and DOJ need to band together and protect their personnel to allow them to do their job. They're going to do it, but they need to be able to do that without fear for their lives. When the FBI was fighting Al Capone, there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. When the FBI was fighting organized crime families in New York and all around the U.S., there was not a unit dedicated to protecting FBI personnel. I'm struck by the fact you threw up that quote from testimony from an FBI agent to the House Judiciary Committee. Who's the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee? Jim Jordan. And yet Jim Jordan, hearing that these threats to this AUSA are coming about from being publicized, he nevertheless goes on television and, appears in the same, little snips that you showed, repeating the name of this AUSA. So congressmen, senators, they don't care about this threat, but we need to be doing more. In my opinion, I'm glad to see the FBI and Director Wray and others starting to talk about this, but we need to talk about it even more because it's not getting better. If anything, it's getting worse, and it's getting worse behind the testimony and the statements of senators and congressmen, not fringe, sort of outcasts and outliers, but mainstream, reputable national politicians. And it's got to stop.
Okay, so what Peter Strzok is talking about, he wants a special unit dedicated to protecting FBI agents. Can you imagine? From Americans and members of Congress and President Trump who criticize the FBI. He wants a special FBI, that could be a new TV show, right? They got all these FBI shows. He wants a special FBI unit that is all about protecting the FBI from criticism from senators, members of the House, former presidents, and American citizens. Can you imagine? And I want to point this out. These back here, these are the covers of classified documents. See this red around this? This is what goes on the cover. This is part of these two things here are parts of classified documents. What are those doing there? And what are the handcuffs all about? Were those from last night or what? What are those handcuffs about Peter Strzok? And why are those classified documents in Peter Strzok's study? But that's, that is where their head is at. And, with President Trump, with his poll numbers so high and all of us feeling the way we do about all these things, not everyone agrees with us. Maybe the majority of people do. But what Tucker Carlson calls the permanent political class, the Washington insiders, the Beltway insiders, whatever you want to call them, they control our system. They're in the minority. They control our system. And a lot of times people say, well, why do you listen to Peter Strzok? Why do you watch MSNBC or CNN? And the reason I do that is so that I can get inside the mind of the opposition. This is how they're thinking. Their thinking is they're the ones that are being oppressed. They're the ones that are in danger. Their rights are being infringed upon, not ours. You understand what I'm talking about here? So watching some of this media and hearing what they say and everything, you got to understand where they're coming from so you can stand up and combat it. You know, that's why I listen to liberals and such sometimes. But these people are they're mental patients. Okay, they all have Trump derangement syndrome, and you know everything that was ever theorized about J. Edgar Hoover was true. You know, it really, truly was. I mean, the secret government is the FBI, isn't it? There's no doubt about that. But you know, we have. I'm sitting. Usually, I'm standing. I'm in a chair now. I got a swivel. I'm uncomfortable. Is this a microaggression? Is my chair guilty of a microaggression? I'm uncomfortable. I got to move on it a little bit. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Judy K. from Central Jersey.
Hey, what's up, Central Jersey? What's on your mind?
My comment on the
microaggressions.
Yeah, meaning it's a little bit larger.
Yeah.
Mine, and that it's just like saying hyper-aggression. Somebody's hyper-aggressive.
Yeah.
And that hyper and hypo.
Mm-hmm.
And but if they want to use those kind of language in that, they should print a dictionary out to make it available so everybody knows what.
Well, I know what it is. That girl in particular, she hates white people, and she uses all these words to justify her anger towards white people. And why was she filming herself at that particular time? Was that whole thing a setup?
She was strutting around.
Yeah, she was strutting around, and you know, and she was waiting to.
He was asking for it.
Well, what the girl said was, she said that the security guard comments on her hair regularly, so she was filming this to catch the security guard to try to make an incident out of it and record it.
Yeah, that's true. And that I know I had that incident happen to me. She had on a very beautiful flowing dress. And I made a comment on her, but that person was very nice and thanked me, and I was glad because I try not to be too elusive, too uppity, and that and I was appreciative, and I thanked her, and that was it. But a lot of the words they use today, you don't know really what they mean because I don't think they know what it means. It just sounds good.
Microaggression means nothing. That is a meaningless term. It means nothing.
Yeah. Aggression is aggression.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Okay,
All right.
you have a good day. And say hi to Kathy for me.
I will. Thanks for watching. By the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk, man. And if you're watching me live, you can always call me live on the stream. I'm always taking calls live. All the calls are screenless. Right here on the channel at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Toll free no matter where you're watching. So we've had a lot of victories in this country. This next story is really kind of like a poll, a primary poll. Look at this. It involves Bud Light. Big name retailers are removing Bud Light from key shelf space. Look at this. Over the last several months, Bud Light has continued to experience a catastrophic dip in sales after fully embracing all this Dylan Mulvaney stuff, right? Now, according to ABC News, industry insiders are saying that Bud Light's diminished market performance could see a further decline this fall during the annual retail shelf space reshuffle. I guess this is something they do yearly. Hang in there, caller. Hold on. Prominent retailers such as Walmart and 7-Eleven are expected to reduce Bud Light's presence in their stores in favor of better performing brands. Isn't that something? The left have destroyed Bud Light, and MAGA has had a victory. And this is the first of many victories we're going to have over the next year. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Deborah. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, Deborah in Jacksonville. How you doing?
I'm great. just to clear up with that young black lady that you were commenting on.
Yes.
That's not her hair. She has extensions in or a wig on, and she probably feels insecure saying, "Thanks, but this is not my hair." When the
Oh, you think that's what it is? You don't think she hates white people and is looking for an excuse to yell at one?
No, I think she feels insecure trying to say, "Thanks, but this is not really my hair." I think that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I think now you're giving her too much credit. Why was she filming herself at that time? It was a weird camera angle. Why was she filming herself?
She could have a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel, and she's just filming herself.
It could be a mix. It could be. It could be a mix of both.
Yeah.
She's insecure about, her hair is kind of like my MAGA hat. It's a hat. It's not really hair. It's a hat.
Right. Yeah. And I just called in just in case you weren't aware that that's not her. She probably.
Yeah, I could tell. It's not. It's a cheap looking wig. I could tell it was a wig. I just didn't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be guilty.
I love your show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. I'm going to be heading that way soon, actually, Jacksonville. A friend of mine just moved up into the Jacksonville area, and I'm going to go visit him soon. By the way, great calls on the stream this morning, I must say. Thank you all who have called. And you're all welcome to call in. You don't have to agree with me to call. If you disagree, you're welcome to call in too. However, I don't see how anyone could disagree with anything I've said, but you don't have to agree to call at 1-888-465-2631. Now, we got the next Republican debate coming up. Now, this is an interesting one. The window to qualify for next week's second GOP presidential debate is closing, with the increasing likelihood that more than a few participants from the first round will be shut out. Politico is reporting that out of 8 candidates who participated in last month's Milwaukee debate, 2 have yet to receive nominations. One of them is Tim Scott. William, $10 super chat. Thank you. All I have to say is go woke, you should go broke. Yes, that's right, William, and thank you for that $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Tim Scott sent a letter out last week to the Republican National Committee asking for reforms to the qualification process, which require candidates to achieve 3% of 2 national polls or 1 national poll and 2 state-level polls. But whatever. So he's trying to get them to change the requirements, Tim Scott, so he'll qualify for the next debate. He has not qualified. I'm sorry you have no following, Tim Scott. You're not welcome. Chris Christie, he's the second one. Chris Christie has just 0.5% above Scott, and he also is not qualifying for the next debate. So we've got Chris Christie and Tim Scott right now are not qualifying for the next debate. And that's, they're going to start fading out quick. But I don't know if they'll fix it for them where they can, they can adjust the requirements so they can have them there. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I know I'm not going to watch, just like I didn't watch the last one. But I hope they don't, just so we can see where their support goes, because that's a step away from dropping out, right? If they're not in the debate, if they don't have enough support for the debate, will their campaigns last? And I'm looking forward to seeing when the first few of these grifters, losers, and Trump derangement syndrome sufferers start dropping out of the Republican primaries, where their support goes in the polls after that. When we have, right now, there's 2 groups of Republicans that are being polled, right? Us great MAGA people, and then the Trump haters, the never Trumpers. And the never Trumper vote is split. And when someone like Tim Scott drops out, not all of his support's going to stay in the never Trumper movement. Some of them are going to go to Trump. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out a little bit. Where if Tim Scott dropped out in the next poll, where would his supporters go? It's hard to say. But they're not all going to go to the never Trumpers. Some of them will most definitely go to President Trump. His numbers will continue to go higher. And I just want to talk a little bit about Robert Kennedy Jr. There was this real bizarre possible assassination attempt against Robert Kennedy Jr. over the weekend out in California, just a couple of miles from where his father was murdered. And repeatedly, Robert Kennedy Jr. has requested Secret Service protection, and Biden has denied it. And as of now this could change in 10 minutes, but I don't expect it to. But as of this moment, President Biden still is denying Robert Kennedy Secret Service protection, even after, first off, every presidential candidate is entitled to Secret Service protection, okay, because of Robert Kennedy's father and what happened with him. And he's doubly at risk because he's running for president, and his father and uncle were assassinated. And still, even after this incident, he's being denied Secret Service protection, Robert Kennedy Jr., by Joe Biden. And the reason that Joe Biden's denying that is because to give him Secret Service protection, in their mind, gives him credibility as a presidential candidate. And they don't want to give him credibility as a presidential candidate. That's why they're denying him Secret Service protection. Biden. These are really low-life snakes, really low-life people we have running the government right now. But, Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent, and I imagine he knows a lot of retired Secret Service agents. And what happened with Robert Kennedy over the weekend is pretty scary. This guy and his brother were there. The guy's brother was also arrested. And Dan Bongino, what I'd like to see Dan Bongino do, because he has the ability to do this, is organize a team of his friends that are retired Secret Service agents and volunteer their professional protection services to Robert Kennedy. What do you guys think about that? Bongino could do that. He'd get boatloads of publicity, and it's the right thing to do. He needs to have professional protection, Robert Kennedy, because of his father and his uncle, and what happened over the weekend, and because he's running for president right now. And Dan Bongino could put together a real team of Secret Service agents to protect him. And I don't know if that's even occurred to him, but if anybody knows Dan Bongino that's watching or listening to my voice, you get that to him. That would be something. Now, this was an interesting moment with Robert Kennedy Jr. He's on C-SPAN. This is the guy that interviewed me on C-SPAN. And he takes a call, and Robert Kennedy gets a call from this Democrat lady who she likes him because he's a Kennedy, but she's confused by what makes him a Democrat. And she asks him about this, and he has a beautiful answer. Listen to this.
Callers lined up to talk to you. Let's start with Sharon. She's in Minnesota. Democrats line. You're on with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Sharon, good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, Pedro. Thanks so much for taking my call. And good morning, Mr. Kennedy. This is quite an honor. You're a Kennedy, and I love and cherish your name. However, I am a Democrat, and I kind of cringe when Pedro said, he introduced you as the Democratic, presidential campaign, and I really need to know from you what makes you feel like you are a Democrat. What makes you?
Listen to his answer.
Is it like the only way I can win is if I claim to be a Democrat? You just lumped yourself with Bernie Sanders. I get it. I just wish. I wish we had that third party. I wish that you could, feel confident that you're strong enough in your campaign and your beliefs that you could run on an independent, because that is what you are. You are definitely not, in my book or any of my Democratic family or friends' book, a Democrat. Your conspiracy theories, they literally scare us.
Now wait till you hear his answer. His answer is a beautiful answer.
We just came out of 4 years of, full of Trump's lies and his conspiracy theories. In this country, you claim that you want to heal us as a nation and our divide, and this is not. I mean, the Wi-Fi causes cancer, and 5G is mass surveillance, and chemicals in our water cause transgender, and antidepressants cause school shootings. I'm so confused, and so I'm looking for clarity from you today, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, Sharon, thank you for the call. You laid out a lot of things. We'll let
her name's Sharon, not Karen, by the way.
Mr. Kennedy respond.
Yeah, Sharon, thanks for those questions. If you go down the checklist of all the things that my father believed in, that Robert Kennedy and my uncle John Kennedy believed in, I would check every one of those boxes.
That's right.
Of classic progressive, liberal, democratic candidates. I don't think you can point to one of those things that I'm not fighting for.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, and it's really amazing. It's too bad about his voice, isn't it? If he had his voice back, his voice would sound just like his father's, and it would be so powerful. And that's really a rough disability he's got going there. But I thought this was a brilliant exchange because it really illustrates what's happened to the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has been taken over by freaks, geeks, and weirdos. And it's been taken to this extreme that is hard to believe is even real on all their things that they're promoting. And Robert Kennedy Jr., he calls himself a classical Democrat. How many people have you heard say that if President Kennedy were alive, he'd be MAGA? And that's true. President Kennedy was a lifelong member of the NRA and things like that. Okay. And also the Kennedys were strongly, including Bobby Kennedy, were strongly pro-life. Did you know that? That's right. The Catholic, Roman Catholic. So they are the Kennedys of 1960 and 68 have a lot in common with MAGA in 2023. In fact, a lot in common with MAGA. And I hope he encounters more people like this, because there are a lot of people that are Democrats that don't support Dylan Mulvaney and the open borders and a lot of these things. Someone in the chat said old school Dem. A lot of these old school Dems we want on the Trump train because they agree with us more. Now, eventually his campaign is going to fizzle out. And I really hope that when Robert Kennedy's campaign goes away, that he doesn't go third party, that he starts traveling around with Trump at rallies and encouraging classical Democrats like himself, like his dad, like his uncle, to get on the Trump train and stop this freak show that's become the Democrat Party of today. I mean, that's just what it is. And he can get as many calls like that as they possibly can put through, and I'd be very, very happy. Now, this is pretty transparent here if you think about what's going on. Jenna Ellis, Trump lawyer and co-defendant Jenna Ellis, says she won't support Trump due to his narcissistic tendencies. See, what Jenna Ellis is doing, if you notice with Jenna Ellis, every time Jenna Ellis speaks, she's sending out messages to the prosecutors that she wants to make a deal, and she'll say whatever she has to say to get out of trouble, which means she'll testify against Trump, and she'll do whatever it is you need her to do, and just disappointed in her. I mean, I don't know what happened to Jenna Ellis. Maybe she never was with Trump. I don't know. But every time I hear her speak, all I hear her doing is sending messages out to the Fulton County prosecutors. Come to me. Need me to say something? I'll say it. I'll testify against Trump. I don't like to say turn on Trump, because to turn on Trump gives credibility to these people. Like there's things that they know that he did wrong and they're holding him back. Trump has done nothing wrong. He's committed no crimes. Fetterman has committed more crimes than President Trump. I don't know if he is medically allowed to drive. He's brain damaged, right? And was he speeding there, by the way? Looked like he was speeding. And with his brain damage, he probably shouldn't be behind the wheel. That's more law breaking than President Trump has done. And to call these people turning on Trump, to say they've turned on Trump, is to give credibility to what they say. These people will say whatever you need them to say, like her, to save their skin. And it's pretty disgusting. Now, I want to tell you guys that if you are retired or planning on retiring at some point, I don't know, all of us plan on being retired at some point, I want you to send for this book. There's a link pinned to the top of the chat from financial expert Joe Thomas. It's the Retirement Know-It-All book, and it is completely free. Just click that link, or you can go to jupiterjoe.com and send for this free book. Okay, it's everything you need to know about preparing for retirement. The link is pinned at the top of the chat, or go to the website, jupiterjoe.com, and request a free copy of this book. And it's a real book, too, not a digital download. jupiterjoe.com. It's a new sponsor and supporter of the program. Send for this book, and of course, when you send for the book, you're going to get all the great information about retirement. If you're already retired, this book can help you as well. And you're also supporting the program and all our content. So go to jupiterjoe.com and send for the free book, or just click the link that is pinned to the top of the chat. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. And everyone watching, make sure you like the video. My name's Brian Craig. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I will talk to you next time. Take care.